Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another set of beautiful nails. So this time we're doing a full set, and as you can see, I've already prepped the nail and I'm applying the tips now, but I accidentally forgot to press record at the beginning, so that's why we've already done that. So remember, when you're applying the tips, you want to make sure that if one's too small and one's too big, you always want to go with the bigger one, because you could always file down the sides and make it fit perfectly. Because if you do go with the smaller one, eventually it's going to either crack on the side or it's going to cause your nail to lift, because it wants to, just come back up since you were having to force it to lay on the nail. So just keep that in mind whenever you're applying your tips. And you also want to make sure that you hold your client's hand really straight, because you don't want their nails to be crooked. Alrighty, so after we apply all of our tips, we're going to go in and cut them down to the desired length. So you want to make sure that before you cut them, you ask your client how long they want them, and after you cut the first one, ask them if it's okay, and then just proceed with the other nails. And after doing them for so long, you're going to realize that after a while, you're kind of just going to be able to eye the length and then be able to do the same on the other hand. But you always want to make sure you go back and measure them like this. This is usually what I do after I cut them, and as you can see, I go back and cut them if I need to, but for the most part I can always kind of just guesstimate the length. So now I'm going to go in and just cut the sides, because I am doing a coffin shape. So by cutting the side of the nail, I'm just going to save time from having to do extra filing. And you can do this with scissors. I like to do it with a pair of toenail clippers. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in and file the nails into a coffin shape. And remember, whenever you're filing, you want to make sure that you don't leave the nails too wide, because you don't want it to look just super fake. You want it to fit the size of their natural nail, so it kind of looks like it's just naturally growing out of their nail. And whenever you're doing the tip of the nail, you want to make sure you file at a 90 degrees angle, so you can have those really straight corners or the really sharp edges. So yeah, make sure you file at a 90 degrees angle, and remember, make sure you file those sides really good, because you don't want to have a really wide nail. Alrighty, and you also want to remember to always go back and blend the tip in right in the middle where the smile line is. You basically just want to erase that smile line. They do have smile line fillers, but I like to just go back in and file it away. And that is just to make the nail look a little bit more natural and make it seem like the nail is actually growing out of their actual nail. Alrighty, so now I'm just applying my OPI primer, and I do not use a dehydrator. I always just use a primer, and my nails always stay on really good, because remember, no matter what product you use, if you don't prep the nail correctly, you will still have lifting. So you want to keep that in mind. So now I'm just applying my blue acrylic, and what I did with this one is I had a blue glow in the dark powder, and I just mixed it with some clear powder, and I just created that blue one. And this is a Mia Secret Cover Pink. So as you can see right here, I was using that alpha brush in the number 16, I believe. and as you can see, I was having a little bit of a hard time. That was my first time ever using it, so I feel like I grabbed too much product to begin with, so that nail was a little bit bulkier. So I am gonna switch over to using my OPI brush just because I'm more used to it, and like I said, this was my very first time using this brush, so I wasn't used to it just yet. Alrighty, so once again, I am using my number 8 acrylic brush by OPI. I'm also using this blue acrylic, which I mixed up, and I'm using my Cover Pink by Mia Secret, which I just got and I absolutely love it. I was scared that it wasn't going to give me a full coverage that I wanted, but it definitely did that. And yeah, so remember, whenever you're doing this, it's easier if you go in and do your tips first when you're doing the ombre. So I should have went back in and did all the blue tips and then went back in and did the pink. So I am going to do that on the other hand, but just keep that in mind when you're doing ombre. Once again, you always want to go back in and do the tips first and then go back in and do the pink, or whatever works for you, but I feel like that's just a faster way to do it. Alrighty, so same thing for the other hand, except for on this hand I am going to do all the blue tips first, and then I'm going to go in with my cover pink to fill in the back of the nail. So remember, I feel like that's a little bit easier and it's also a little bit faster, but whatever works for you is fine. Alrighty, and another thing you want to keep in mind whenever you're laying down your acrylic is you want to make sure you go back and clean around that cuticle area really good. You want to make sure first you're not using a lot of product to where it's going to just run to the cuticle area. But if it does run to the cuticle area, you want to make sure you wipe it off before it dries up, because afterwards it's going to be hard for you to file it off and it will cause lifting if you leave it over the cuticle. So you make sure you go back and clean around the cuticle really good, and I cannot stress that enough, because if you don't and you just leave it on the skin, it will cause your nails to lift. So remember, lay your acrylic as close as you can to the cuticle, but not too close where it's going to be on the actual skin. Alrighty, so now we are on the last nail, and remember, after you're done laying down your acrylic, you want to make sure that you set your brush into a little dapping dish with either acetone or brush cleaner or monomer or whatever you use to clean your brush, because you don't want it to have any excess acrylic on the brush, because it will mess up your brush. So remember, clean it off after every set, and then we're going to go in and reshape the nails. Alrighty, so after you finish reshaping the nails, we're going to go in and file the nails. So I am using my fine drill bit. And remember, whenever you're filing the nails, you want to focus on that cuticle area, because any acrylic that's left on the cuticle will cause your lifting. So as you can see, I basically just go in circles and I go from one side to the other. And remember, you want to be able to see the cuticle area, the natural nail, and then where the actual acrylic start at. That way you know that the acrylic is not on the cuticles and you won't have any lifting. And then you also just want to file the rest of the nail just to make sure you don't have any little bumps or lumps. Alrighty, so now we're just gonna go in and buff the nails. So remember, whenever you're buffing the nails, that's to make sure that they are nice and smooth. If you don't file them really good, any little scratches left from your file will show through your polish. So you want to make sure that all the nails are really nice and smooth. You want to make sure you go back and fill on every nail just to make sure that there's no little bumps on them. And then after this, you can either have your client go wash your hands, or you can also just wipe the nail off with an alcohol wipe, which is what I do. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in with this holographic polish by Color Club, and this will be a full nail of rhinestones. And remember, I like to apply a color that matches the rhinestones just in case something falls off, it won't be as noticeable. So this will be the only finger that will be a full rhinestone nail. Now I'm going to go in to her ring finger, and I'm going to apply this big blue rhinestone, and then I'm just going to apply a couple smaller ones just around them. And I am using my SS6 and SS12. And remember, my website is down for restocking. As soon as I restock, I will update my website, and I will keep you guys updated, like I said. Alrighty, so I'm using my wax pencil to apply the rhinestones, and I'm also using my Mia's Secret gel resin. So I know I mentioned before in my videos that the only thing that I didn't like about this glue was that it took it a little bit longer to dry. So I did order the little activator spray that they have that goes with this gel resin. So I've been using it, and honestly it is amazing, and it really helps that glue dry a lot faster. Like as soon as you spray it on the nail, your glue dries. So if you're having that same problem, I would really recommend that you look into buying the little activator spray. I will leave the link in the description. I believe it's about $8, and it's a pretty nice size bottle, and all you need is one little squirt and you're good. So it will go a very long way. So once again, I'm using my SS6 and SS12 as well as some bigger little blue rhinestones, and then I'm using my wax pencil and my Mia's Secret gel resin as well as my activator spray. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in with my gel top coat, and I am using my IBD gel top coat, and this is a non-cleanse, so I don't have to go back and clean anything off after it's cured. And so after I apply the top coat, I'm just going to go in and cure it for 60 seconds. I'm going to apply a cuticle oil, and we will be done. Alrighty, y'all, so this is the final look. They turned out so pretty. That blue and that pink just are gorgeous. Those rhinestones are so shiny. They just look amazing. And then here is how they look in the dark. So I hope everybody enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram and Facebook at GetNail32, and stay tuned for more videos to come.